Right, here's just a quick overview of the setup sound-wise we've got for running Hadestown in Bristol, the Hadestown Teen Edition. Main front of house desk is X32 compact. We have got a Dante network running that connects QLab, Reaper, this desk, the pit desk which is down there, and the MD's QLab which is over there, all together running on entry-level unified networking hardware. We have got 16 channels of radio on the show, but we're only using 14 of them. So we have 12 ways of EWD in this rack, and then 4 more ways in the rack over there that all get fed into front of house desk on the analog inputs, 1 through 16. They come into the desk on channels 1 through 16 for all the cast mics. We also have a acoustic guitar spare, like hot spare headset, and then 2 spare channels of radio. Then on the desk, or front of house desk, we then have inputs coming from the band mixer over Dante, where we've got a stereo mix of the drums. We've got miscellaneous percussion toys which isn't being used, drum pad which isn't being used, and then guitar, bass, trombone, glockenspiel, stereo piano, violin, cello, the backing vocals which come from the MD Lab, talkback mic from the MD, the accordion, and then click track which also comes from the MD's QLab. Then aux-ins, we've got sound effects left and right, Fourier music which goes out to front of house, big sound effects to come out of the main PA, and then I've got D feedback available as a stereo set on there. And then effects wise, I've just got a reverb for the cast vocals and then another reverb for the band. I'm not using 3 or 4. Bus wise, I've got front of house talkback mic which takes my talkback mic from front of house and sends it down to the band so that I can talk to them on their ears. We have got a small speaker in the booth for myself and the lighting technician to be able to hear the click track and the MD's talkback. We then have a channel for front of house music that is sent out to the foyer. We've got a channel for top fills, which are a pair of speakers above the stage pointing down for the keys to fall back on stage to help the cast hear better. I then have cast vox mix, which is sent down to the band over Dante. And then I've got three channels here called keys riser, guitars riser, and upstage riser, which will feed down to the band mixer, which then comes out of speakers underneath the guitars riser, the keys riser, and upstage behind those 2 flats there. On second set of buses, I've then got my Vox mix for front of house. That is what D feedback's inserted on. So that is set as a subgroup for all of my for all my headsets come into that group, and then D feedback's inserted there. I then have mix groups for the band for acoustic band members and direct band DI band members. These feed out of these are feeding just the main PA, which is EM acoustics hung 4 ways of tops and then 4 subs either side, and then up on the balconies as well. I've got a spare mix bus there which I'm not using, and then I've got my effects sends there. I have my DCAs here which are all controlled through Theatre Mix over here with loads of cues. And I have my go and back buttons for Theatre Mix here that shuffle my DCAs around so that I can mix the show line by line as needed. Then over here I have Reaper, which is able to record a full multi-track of the show, so all of the cast vocal mics, all of the band mics. It also records sound effects channels and sound effects channels, because there's a couple that are timed with music, so they come from the MD on his QLab. And then this also records the drums group as the stereo mix that comes from the band down there. It also records the drum channels individually, so that I can do triage on those if I need to adjust the mix between shows. I also have it set up so that the X32 has the MIDI in and out connected up to Reaper. So this then is able to record the MIDI channels for all of my DCA moves. So if I unmute this channel and I play the show back, it's able to effectively replicate my DCA moves and mix the show for me while I go and adjust things out front. So if I wind it back to here Actually, I'll wind it back. I'll do it to a different show, different track, because I've just been adjusting stuff on that one. So if I... And the nice thing, because Reaper and Theatre Mix integrate, so if I select a cue in here and jump to it, it will set Reaper to a few seconds before when I triggered that cue in the show last night. This is the recording from last night. So I hit play on there. And I unmute my... Let's try that again. If I unmute there... Reaper is now sending MIDI data to the desk that's able to replicate my DCA moves. This is really useful when you're a sole operator and you don't have time to be making fine adjustments during the show, because it allows you to effectively play that back as it was, and then you can then go in and dial in things like the band mix or stuff like that that you haven't had time to adjust before running into the shows. Theatre Mix, Front of House QLab, Messages from Radio World, and Dante Controller. Those are running alongside Open Sound Meter for some just basic levels monitoring, and Dante Controller for network monitoring. Those are running on a pair of Mac Minis in my rack here. Both of those have got, they're both hooked into the network, and they have Dante Virtual Sound Card installed. This laptop, my MacBook, also has Dante Virtual Sound Card. That gives me, this one has 64 ways each, 64 channels each way, in and out. And I can just repatch, I can recall a preset in Dante Controller that will repatch it to either playing back from my laptop or playing back from the band mixer. So that, combined with just adjusting the routing on the desk between playback and record, allows me to just play back the show in its entirety from multi-track, from stems, in order to practice, rehearse mixing or troubleshoot things or dial bits in and stuff like that. Right, let's go down there. Right, and now we are side of the stage. So we were up there at the back, now we're on stage. So the band mixer lives under this riser here. It's a bit of a mess down here because we haven't really had time to tidy stuff on this show. So underneath the riser we have the drummer in a booth. We've got just a little AKG choir mic as an overhead, and then close miking on all the drums. But realistically, the overhead does most of the lifting, and then I've just fed in a little bit of the close mics just to fill it out and give it a bit more oomph. Down here on stage we have Unify 8-port switch that takes a feed going up to the front of house with the main feed, and then it's got two that come out into the X32 rack, which is our band mixer. Inside here we have the two feeds. One of them goes into Ethernet remote, the other one goes into Dante primary. There is then a direct Dante secondary feed from this up to the front of house desk, because none of the other devices have a secondary Dante port, so that just means we've got a bit of redundancy between here and front of house. We've got inputs from all the drum mics and the guitar riser coming in here. We then have two outputs. One of them goes to the speaker under the guitars riser, the other one goes to the speaker above the deck this side of the stage. And we have AES 50 coming out. We have AES 50 coming out of here that runs across to the other side of the stage, and we have Ultranet that comes out of here and goes into a PowerPlay P16D. Is it a D? I think it's a D. Yeah, P16D, which is an alternate distribution and power supply. So Ultranet goes in, and then it comes out alongside power over Cat5 that then goes to the P16s that the band have for their mixers. So there's one for the drummer here, the trombonist is directly above us, and then the guitar and bass are on this side. Guitar and bass both are on DIs, so cables just run under matting there under here. So guitar and bass both on just direct inputs. They've then got their P16s for their mixers there. And underneath the deck we have Yamaha active speaker for that. And then for the trombone player, he's got an AKG clip-on mic for his trombone, and then he also plays the glockenspiel, so that's got a AKG C414 on it behind him. Coming across to this side, we have the AES 50 feed coming over from that side of the stage down to the Behringer 16 on this side. That has the strings and keys feeding into it. It then has two outputs, one of them going to the speaker under the keys riser, the other one going to the top speaker this side of the stage. We then got a P16i module that takes ADAT out the back of the S16, and then again just spits it out as Ultranet for the band monitors. The reason I use this is just because it fits nicely in my 3U rack, and it means if I need to have analog inputs for the P16s for any reason, I can use it for that as well. Coming up out of here and then up on top of our riser. This side we have the strings, so the cello goes in the corner down here. She's on a C414 again, and P16's monitoring. Violin then has a wraparound mic that she goes in via jack lead and DI, and then we've got two Yamaha active speakers up here. Then there's the trombone station with all of his mutes. He's got a ridiculous number of mutes for this show. And the glockenspiel. So all of the band, their P16s, they've all got headphone splitters on the output, so they've got a spare set of headphones as well as their in-ears that they can use. Over here we have the MD. So this is the MD's laptop. This runs QLab for the click and backing tracks, and then the sound effects that are timed to the music. He's then also got his stage piano up here that we just take a stereo jack feed from the back of, and he's got a monitor hooked up to the QLab laptop, so we can see that while he's performing. And then MD talkback mic that goes through to all the band's in-ears. P16 again for the MD, and then he also plays the accordion a number of times in the show. That's got built-in mics that then come out through a little mini mixer, and then we just take a jack output from that into a DI. I'll just come around the back here, have a nose up here. Again, under the riser this side, we have an active speaker for the keys to come out of. And then we look at the front of the mixer. Maybe if I turn the brightness down, you'll see it. Yeah. Those are the different channels that the band have coming into their mixers that they can then choose what they want to listen to themselves. So the way the routing works, all of the band mics are fed into the X32 rack that is back there next to the drums. We then take that mixer then sends those straight back out over Ultranet to all the band, obviously after mixing the drums down to a mono mix. That one then sends all of those mics plus the stereo mix of the band out over Dante, up to front of house. The MD's laptop is also on Dante. That sends the backing vocals track, click track, and then two sound effects tracks out to front of house. With mixing the show, I've kind of tried to go for a vaguely naturalistic sort of approach, because it's all quite all the music is very jazzy and relaxed. So with the speakers built into the set under the risers and behind the flats upstage, like guitar and bass primarily come out of that speaker with a little bit coming out of the main PA. Keys and accordion mainly come out of that speaker with a little bit coming out of the main PA, and then strings and trombone and glock come out of those two speakers, again to try and make it, the intent is to make it sound like all of the noise is coming from the band on stage and not from the PA system out front. Yeah. Then once the mix is all done, the front of house desk then sends the feeds for these speakers down, so that is all controlled from front of house. So the signal goes band into the mixer there, out to front of house over Dante is mixed there, and then it gets sent back down for these speakers to come out here, and then the front of house PA comes out of the front of house desk directly. So the only latency the band here is the latency that's within the X32 rack and the Ultranet system. The latency from the vocals coming from front of house down to there is negligible. It's sub 10 milliseconds, so not really perceivable. And then the click track and everything, because it comes out of their laptop on Dante, that then directly goes into the band mixer and to front of house just as a Dante split, rather than going into one mixer and then out and then into the other. So that simplifies things a little bit. And then now we'll go have a quick look at a rough diagram that I've sketched together. Right, I'm back up at front of house now, and we've got a very rough diagram that I've sketched out. So we've got front of house desks on this side, the pit desk is on this side, and then the band is over here. And then in the middle is just kind of nebulous, all the other miscellaneous stuff. So front of house, we've got the aux 5 and 6 come out, go through the D-feedback box, and then back in again. D-feedback is running on this computer here. It's an option 1 NUC running one instance in stereo, although I'm only using one side of it, and then there's a Focusrite 2i2 underneath, 3rd gen. So that just comes out of the aux 5 and 6 on the desk into there, and back out, and then into aux 5 and 6 on the desk again. So that can then be inserted on the vocal mix. RF racks, the RF receivers will come in on inputs 1 to 16. We then have the Dante network down here represented by this big red splodge. So we have inputs 17 to 32 are the feeds from the band's desk coming in, and then we also have aux 1 to 4 take their feed from Dante within the front of house desk. So that is all just routed within the X32's routing. At the moment it's on user input, but when it's in show mode, we've got local 1 to 16 for 1 to 16, and then card 17 through 24, 17 through 32 for the band inputs, and then 1 through 4 for the aux inputs for sound effects and music and stuff. For pre-show, things like that. And then we have Reaper, front of house QLab, Radio World, and MD QLab all just plugged into the Dante network. Pit desk is the X32 rack that we saw. That has the drums coming into it. They then get mixed and sent out over AES50 to the S16. That mix is also sent out over Dante and then over Ultranet directly, that then go to the band's mixers. We then have all of the band mics. I haven't drawn them on here because there's so many of them. All of the band inputs then just come into that either directly or over AES50 from the S16. They then get sent out straight back out over Ultranet for the band to monitor, and they are then also sent to front of house, where I then do all my processing and then the mix for out front. Once those band inputs come to front of house, they get mixed, and then the feeds for the on-stage speakers then come back out over Dante into this mixer, and then out to the speakers over analog audio, over analog. Yeah. Yeah, and we'll go have a quick, that's about it. We'll go have a quick look at Radio Worlds, but there isn't much to see there. So we're back in a moment. Coming from the stage right wing, we then come back into the scene dock, which is directly behind the back wall of the stage. You can see props, hangout area for cast and all that. And then this is Radio World. I've got an A2 on this show called Zach. He's a college kid who's pretty switched on. All of the cast are on the EWD belt packs with cheap headset mics, because got to save money somewhere. And then down here we have another computer hooked into the Dante network. This is just a little Lenovo ThinkCentre. Runs Windows 10, and it has Nemesis Insight installed, which is basically a cheap version. It's a more cost-effective version of Radio Tools, or whatever the proper West End version that they use is. So this ties in with Dante Virtual Sound Card again. And then if we open up Nemesis Insight and load the show file for it, we can then see that it's got all of the radio mic channels listed here. And then Zach is able to monitor and listen in on those channels. This is the direct feed from the back, from the desk over, from the front of house desk over Dante. So he is able to. This is effectively the same as if I was to go and plug a pair of headphones into the front of the receivers, or to solo the channels pre-effect, like there's a direct input on the desk, and listen to it there. So this means that he's able to troubleshoot any issues that come up with mics, make sure they're sounding good before they go out on stage. It's quite useful. It reduces the amount of workload that I have to do as the front of house mixer, and because I'm obviously busy doing line by line mixing on the show. We're running on AA's. We've just got a couple of the Olight O station chargers that are keeping everything topped up. We've got between 12 channels that are actively in use, and then we've got a spare transmitter and the guitar transmitter, so that makes it 14. So we go through 28 batteries a show, which we are able to keep up with the chargers with a bit of careful management.
They can't feel the rhythm. King Hades is deafened by a river of storm. Poor boy working on a song. And 80% that he's blinded by a river of wine, living in an oblivion.
He did not see the storm coming on.
His black gold flows in the world down below, and your dark clouds roll in the one up above.
What up?
And that is the reason we're on this road. And the seasons are wrong, and the wind is so strong. That's why time's so hard. It's because of the gods. The gods have forgotten the song of their love, singing la 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 la.
Trying to believe that the song he's working on is gonna harbor me from the wind, the wind, the wind.
She was a hungry young girl.
Give it back!
She was no stranger to the wind,
It's everything we have!
but she had not yet seen nothing.
Orpheus!
Like the mighty storm she was caught in.
Orpheus! Harbor me!
For the wrath of the gods was in it.
It's getting worse. Hadestown, hell on earth. You think I'd be impressed with this neon necropolis? What? Cars and oil drums, warehouse walls and factory floors. I don't know you anymore. In the meantime, up above, the harvest dies and people starve. Oceans rise and overflow. It ain't right, it ain't natural.
For everything I do it for the love of you. You don't even want my love, I'll give it to someone who does. Someone grateful for the fate, someone who appreciates the comforts of a gilded cage. Doesn't try to fly away the moment Mother Nature calls. Someone who could love these walls that hold her close and keep her safe. And think of them as my embrace.
Shelter us.
Think of them as my embrace.
Harbor me.
Think of them as my embrace. Love you.